All right, welcome to another episode here. I've got a quick maintenance item for your Honda Pioneer 500s out there. This is a 2015. I've got the check engine light with the oil wrench, the wrench showing up on my dash. That's telling me it's time for an oil change. I've got about 500 miles on it right now. This is the third oil change. It's time for me to change it out so I can go ahead and start plowing the driveway once again. I've already put this thing aside waiting to get the oil change done, but now I've got the parts and everything else, I am good to go. So let me show you the parts real fast you're gonna need, and we'll dive right into this thing real fast. I'll show you how to get this taken care of. All right, so parts are pretty straightforward. I went with the G4 Honda oil 10W30. It's motorcycle oil. It's rated for wet clutches, which this thing does have. It's Jazzo MA certified, so it's good to go for that. I played around with a bunch of different options as far as different oils. I've read up on all the forums and everything else. So like there's kind of a mixed consensus. As long as it's Jazzo MA certified, which is right here, MA right there, and Jazzo certification right there. As long as that is, focus, there it is. So as long as it's Jazzo MA certified, it's good to go for wet clutches. So I don't want to use something with an additive package on there. It's going to ruin the friction plates and everything else in the transmission here. So GN4, can't go wrong with that. Obviously, there's plenty of stuff out there that you can obviously use as well. It's bought at any kind of outdoor, or any kind of maintenance automotive shop there. Oil filter you're gonna need. It's a part number for you. Bought it off of Honda, obviously down in Fairbanks there. A couple O-rings you're gonna require. This is actually for the oil filter itself. As soon as that focuses there. There's that, and then you got this little O-ring as well you're going to require. So pretty straightforward. First thing we need to do is go and start popping out the seat, the back seat and the bottom seat there. And I might have to start pulling up some of these bottom sections here to actually get to the oil fill and everything else. So the oil fill is actually located, you can see it right there. This is on the driver's side right here, right underneath the seat. Pretty straightforward. The part that requires you to take it apart in order to get to it is going to be the drain plug. It's going to be the oil filter, which is going to be located up in there. You can actually access it from the top. I'll show you here in just a second. Stand by. Right, so take a look right here. You got a little flap that the Honda has actually set up for you, so you can access the fill point right here where the oil goes. Come show them real fast right here. Right on the bottom side right there, you see where that fill point is right there? That's actually where you check your oil as well. So this flap just pops back. On the other side, you're gonna take a look. It's got a lot more little fasteners. You gotta take off in order to take this plastic piece right here off. So basically the way those fasteners work, there's a whole bunch of them there. So it's got a plunger, it goes right down the middle of it. That holds it in place. So I really recommend this kind of tool. It's a panel tool. It's designed to get underneath the top of this, pry it up. So they'll pull that plunger up and allow this piece to collapse together so you can pull it up out of the socket right there. So we'll show it real fast. I'll show you how this works here. So that's how they're all going to be all over the place around here. There's actually there's another one right here on the bottom side, on the back side, along the back over here that you don't really have to pay attention to. It kind of takes you a second to see where it's at. But get the little tooth underneath the plunger, pop it up just enough so you can get this both sides underneath, pull it up just like so, and so the plunger comes up. Then just take that tool, work it right underneath it, and pop it straight out. Really, really simple there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 of those pieces there, the panel fasteners. We've also got 3 of the Phillips head fasteners, one for right here, one right there, and one right there. So once you pull those off, this whole plastic tray will come out of the way, just like so. So now you can access the fill location over here. So I have seen in other videos you can actually take this connector right here all the way off, disconnect it from the ECM. I'm going to leave that in place, just kind of flip it forward. All right, so right here underneath on the driver's side, right about midway down on the skid panel, is the drain plug there. So it's a 17 millimeter. She just loosen it up, have a drain pan ready to go. That's all it takes there. This is loose, so use your, let's screw it with your fingers here. It's not a bad idea to run the engine a little while before you start doing this, drain the oil out. That way you get all the contaminants and particles and everything else that's kind of building up in there. Mix it into the oil so it'll come out with this oil change here. Alright, so while that's draining, I'm going to go ahead and replace the oil filter, which is right here on this cover like I already talked about. So it's 3 8mm bolts right here is the cover. Got the drain pan situated underneath. I'll throw a rag underneath this thing because it will drain out some oil here when it comes out. Collect up some of that. The finer point here, really got to make sure you don't get a lot of dirt and all that mixed into the oil here, or else that will cause problems in your engine there. So really got to be careful with cleaning up the area as much as you can. Make sure you're not bumping too much on the dirt and everything else, or else it will make a problem. Cause a problem here. There you go. It's kind of let it wiggle just a little bit because there's a seal there with this O-ring. Alright, so here's the cover. You can see this is the O-ring. It needs to come off, the new one. There's also the other O-ring. Like so. Looks pretty good. There's a spring still stuck in there that sits right on the actual filter itself. You'll notice on the filter it says this size and spring toward engine. So make sure that side is also the same one that goes into the, when you put the other filter in there. Alright, here's the new filter. This side and spring towards engine. So this side is actually going to go fitting right here on the case. And this whole assembly gets pushed in there, just like so. Make sure the spring is still down in there. Should be able to feel it still. It's still right there in the middle where it needs to be. Alright, I got a couple lessons learned here I want to show you guys real fast. So this is the spring that sits right inside the housing there. You can just kind of feel there's like a post that sits on. So you need to make sure that, or it actually goes inside kind of like a sleeve almost. You need to make sure that spring is still there. This O-ring on the housing needs to be replaced. Also this O-ring right here, small little guy, it actually sits right. Alright, so once that's tightened down there, I would just kind of do that crisscross pattern, kind of work this one in a little bit and move on to the next ones. That way the whole plate kind of tightens up to one time so there's a bind up on one side. I'll go ahead and throw the torque value of those 3 bolts there in the description if I can find it. From here, all I gotta do now is go and put that drain plug back in, torque that thing up, and then go ahead and fill it up on the other side there. Take the drain field cap off. Before I always take this off, I always clean up around the outside of it so I don't get any dirt in there like that thrown in the inside the engine there. And this is actually the fill location there. So I'll grab a funnel and I'll just go ahead and throw the required amounts of oil back in there, and once again I'll put the capacities and all that in the description for you guys to see that later on. I didn't spill really any on this oil change after I was doing it, and I'm just below the 1 liter mark right there, so definitely fairly accurate. The spec reads, I think it's like 3.2 liters total for the amount of oil you're going to need for changing this thing out here. The other part of it is don't forget about your air filter. This is a great time. If you already swapped out the oil, take the time to change out that air filter, or at least clean it up. Mine's pretty nasty, it's pretty saturated, so I got to buy a brand new one. Which brings me to the idea of, or the information about where to purchase your parts. I'm located here in Interior Alaska. Everything's expensive. Obviously shipping up here is outrageous. However, if I had taken a little more time and researched for a second, there's a lot of great kits out there. I'll actually throw one in the description about where you can buy one on Amazon. Looks like that's a fairly decent price. I paid 30 bucks for that 4 quarts of oil right there, shipped to Alaska, so it's a great value. Obviously they sell complete kits for this oil change operation right here. So I'll throw it in the description, hit that link. And actually, if you buy it through that link, it actually give me a little bit of kickback, and I really appreciate that, and I thank you for that one there. Definitely definitely appreciate that. Last part of this is to swap, or is to actually reset the oil timer. So I'm gonna take you in the cab real fast. I'll show you how to do that real quick, so you make sure that you get that timer reset. That way it's gonna be accurate for you next time you have to swap out this oil here. All right, so you're sitting in the cab with me right now. This is the switch right here. You're gonna have to push right here. So basically all you do is you gotta push that button and then turn the key at the same time. Let me see if I can do that. So push, hold it down, turn the key on. Hold down and that oil check line should go away. And there it is. So look right there, the wrench sign went away, so it's reset now. Good to go. And turn it off, turn it back on, confirm. Good to go. As you can see, this is my third oil change and I've got 890 miles on this thing right now. Alright, so hopefully you guys got something good out of this information right here, and hopefully you feel confident enough to do this on your own. Save you a ton of money instead of taking it downtown or down to the dealership or anything like that and have them do the maintenance. Took about 45 minutes and I actually was pretty thorough about it. Double checked the specs, double checked some information there on the internet, and obviously I was filming this this whole procedure here, so it took about 45 minutes. One finer note is just kind of my ism here, but it's good, kind of best practice. When you guys are filling that oil up, you should get it to the level you think it's at. Go and start the engine up. Make sure obviously put the cap back on there, and then shut it off and let that oil drain back into the pan and everything else, and then double check that level right there, because some of that oil will get moved around where it needs to go and it might drop your level just a little bit. So make sure you do that and then double check that level and refill it as need be. So hopefully you got good information out of this. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hope you're gonna be able to do this on your own. If you got any questions, please throw them in the comments. I'm all about helping folks out there, as from learning from my mistakes or my successes out there. I want to spread the information. So please subscribe for future videos. I got a lot more great content hopefully coming your way. And give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. All right, have a good day. Thanks. See you in the next one.